Pokemon. I think that's all I gotta say. It's a thing. It's a huge thing. It's been a huge thing. Many of us have been Pokemoning since we were kids. I, personally, have played many of the games to various levels of completion. There's just always been something so satisfying about catching them all, and I don't know if they do it better than anyone else. They at least did it first and biggest. I still remember playing Pokemon Red and Blue for the first time, and just loving it, loving catching them all, battling the trainers, doing all that stuff. Now, more recently, Pokemon games have come under a lot of hate from players. I've given up since Diamond and Pearl, really. I've dabbled with some of the newer games, but there's just too many of them now. But I'm an old man. I'm an old guy. I can't keep track of who is who, which ones have which types. Why does one of them look like an ice cream cone? Trash bag, I think. You know, this just is dumb. It's gotten pretty dumb. You can call me old-fashioned, but really, I think they should have stopped it after Gen 2, maybe Gen 3, if we're pushing it. But this video isn't about Pokemon. Back on my Ni no Kuni review, I actually asked you in the comments what the best Pokemon-style game is, and user The Shy stepped up to the plate and recommended Nexomon Extinction to me. So I played it. Look at me. I am a man of the people. If that doesn't earn your subscription, then I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to do, okay? I'm doing everything here. So is this game worth playing? Is it better than Pokemon? Well, let's talk about it. Please be sure to like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and leave a comment. Who knows? I might play a game you recommend. There's now precedent. You're welcome. So Pokemon really is a just insane hit. It has displaced the monster catcher name as a type of genre. You can say it's a Pokemon game and people know what you're talking about. That said, there are a lot of other games that have you collecting creatures and fighting with them, Ni no Kuni being another great example. But I'm going to ignore all of those, because Nexomon also seems to be ignoring all of those. This game feels like such an explicit Pokemon ripoff. It's a top-down, classic Game Boy Advance looking game where you go to various towns. Each town has its own healing center and mart that sells you items. You find monsters in tall grass and you throw Nexo traps, which are essentially Pokeballs, at them to capture them. I really did try. I tried really hard while I was playing this game to think about it in a vacuum. But man, I couldn't. I couldn't help but constantly compare it to Pokemon. So I'm going to do that here. If that bothers you, find a different review, because I just couldn't shake it. You cannot shake the feeling that you're playing Pokemon while playing this game. There are some things this game does better. There's some nice quality of life stuff. But there's some other things that were kind of questionable, that almost felt left out, that you would think were standard in these kinds of games by now. The first major change you notice, and the biggest change I would say in this game, is it actually tells you what your chances are of catching a Nexomon. That's actually pretty good. I like this. I thought this was a nice addition, but it also sort of makes the game feel it just felt a little artificially low. Simply getting a Nexomon down to critical health really only gets you about a 30% catch chance. If you want to get that higher, you're going to need to throw out some food or treats to raise that percentage up, or inflict a status effect. You can also buy type-specific traps that increase your odds of catching Nexomon. See, I can't even keep it straight myself. Of catching Nexomon of that specific type. It is a neat system in theory. However, in practice, all it felt like it did was add multiple turns to these wild Nexomon battles, where you have to throw out food or whatever to make sure you're actually going to catch them when you throw out the trap. This really felt like it artificially inflated the length of the game. It just felt like unneeded padding. You can complain that Pokemon's easy, but there is something to that. There's something nice to just get it weak, throw a Pokeball at it, you caught it, move on. This is a JRPG. These wild Nexomon are supposed to be just like trash mobs. You are supposed to just kind of blitz through them. And it just felt like it was taking too long. Now, in that same vein of taking too long, the dev of this game clearly really sides with the majority of the internet at this point. I would say that really hate the difficulty curve of Pokemon games. Pokemon games are too easy. Everybody says that. And man, did this guy try and fix that by artificially inflating the random encounters to a point that's unnecessary. It's not difficult either. I'm going to say this now. It is not harder. It's just frustrating. Essentially, every wild Nexomon puts your party at risk. All of the creatures in the game have fairly low HP pools, especially in the early levels, but they hit pretty hard. And it's no fun, after every couple wild encounters, to feel like you have to run back to the town and heal your Nexomon up. The damage numbers just always felt off, especially when you think about typing as well. Sometimes I would have a Pokemon that was strong against the wild Pokemon, and it didn't even feel like it did that much more damage with the weakness types. Now, the trainer battles also provide the same challenge, and I do kind of think that that is a more fitting place for it. But the damage numbers still just always felt off. It seems like whichever one of the two Nexomon fighting is a higher level, even if it's only like one level, it will do a lot more damage to the other Nexomon, even if you're just using basic normal attacks. Then on top of that, the elemental weaknesses feel like they barely add any impact. It didn't feel like I was doing a ton more damage when I was exploiting a weakness. Now, that kind of sucks. I do like that in Pokemon, or other games as well. You feel good when you exploit that weakness and kind of really knock down the enemy without taking damage yourself. That is an aspect that's lacking here. Trainer battles also had a strange thing missing from Pokemon games that I didn't understand. So normally in a Pokemon game, right, you knock out one of their Pokemon, and before they send in the next one, it gives you the chance to switch your Pokemon. Now, if they didn't want to tell you what the trainer was going to send out next, I think that would have been great. I think that would have been totally fine. Because you have to figure out, like, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to change types? All this stuff. But the fact that you don't even get the chance to switch your own guy almost made it feel like you were getting punished for knocking out the guy's Nexomon. Especially if yours is a low HP. Half the time I would just leave it out there to get knocked out, rather than switch it for a fresh Nexomon that would then have to take that initial attack because of the penalty of trading your characters out. So while I do agree on the whole that Pokemon games are usually too easy, this one, again, didn't feel hard. It just felt frustrating. It felt like I was always running back to heal points. The game does put some heal points out into the wild for you to find. It didn't feel like they spawned enough to alleviate these issues. So it just makes the game feel tedious. It doesn't make it hard, it makes it tedious. I think with a little more balance, with a little more fine-tuning, it could have actually been really good and a much better curved game. But as it is, it's just frustrating. Unlike Pokemon, there are no gyms in this game. That's the big deviation. There's no gyms. Instead, it actually tells a real story, and a pretty mature one at that, about the potential destruction of the world at the hands of Tyrant Nexomon. These are essentially the game's legendary Pokemon. So you play as like the chosen one or something, and of course everyone's out to get you for some reason. Even though you start the game as a fresh-faced trainer, it starts exactly the same as the Pokemon games. You get caught in a battle and this random character is like, here, pick a starter, blah blah blah. The problem with this is, unlike the main plot, all the rest of the dialogue in the game really tries hard to be funny. Some jokes do land, I laughed a couple times, but really the self-awareness, the fourth wall breaks, this incessant, like, sarcasm, jokiness tone, it really sent out a conflicting tone, I thought, narratively, and usually felt more cringy than enjoyable. I will give this game credit. Unlike Pokemon, it does realize that it's an RPG game, so there are things to do, like side quests. There's random characters that will trade you items or Nexomon if you bring them certain things. This really does make the world feel a lot more alive. It makes the world feel real than most Pokemon games feel. I was interacting with a lot of the NPCs, I was exploring a lot of the areas. None of the quests are anything special, it's mostly just fetch quests. But it was still nice to have. It was nice to have something else to do other than, we need to go to the next town now, walk to the next town. Graphically, I also give this game a lot of credit. I think it looks very nice. I really enjoyed the art style of the game. I thought it had clear, colorful visuals. I thought the areas were pretty diverse that you explore. I thought the Nexomon looked good, but none really stood out. I think I might just be jaded by all the new Pokemons and stuff, because I don't even think they're that great. I think the first generation or two of Pokemon really did capture that unique monster thing, and maybe these games just aren't the ones for me, but I just didn't care about any of them like I would about maybe a Squirtle or something. Each one is limited to a single type, and some of the type weaknesses are a little unintuitive, and it's not really easy to find out what is weak to what. From the sound side, it sounds fine. The music is similar to what you would find in a Pokemon game, but there's really no earworms like the Pokemon series is known for. I can still remember some jingles from Pokemon Red. I couldn't hum you a single tune from Nexomon. So at the end of it all, this game's actually pretty hard to recommend. I think if you're tired of the Pokemon formula, this isn't going to change your mind. This is essentially Pokemon. Yes, there's some minor changes to mechanics and the story's different, but the core gameplay loop of battling and capturing Nexomon is identical, and it really doesn't do as great of a job selling the Nexomon and catching them all and things like that to the player. It really did feel like I was playing a living example of the "we have X at home" meme that is dead by the time this video comes out, but that's what it feels like. It feels like we have Pokemon at home, so play Nexomon. It does make some improvements to the formula, but there's also some strange steps back, some things that you'd think are just standard at this point that aren't in the game. I think if you like Pokemon, you will like this, and I really can see why you would even maybe like it more than Pokemon games. But at the end of the day, to me, this is still just Pokemon, but without the monsters I've been collecting since I was 5 years old. And so there's not enough there, and I'm not someone who's so into this genre that I'm starved for games to play in it, so it really didn't do enough to wrangle me in. Final scores, I would give the story a 3 out of 5, the gameplay a 2.5 out of 5, the presentation a 3.5 out of 5, with a final rating of a 3 out of 5. For value, I mean, if you really need a Pokemon game to play, it's cheaper than the new Diamond and Pearl remakes, and about the same, so you might as well spend the $20 on this game. I got it on sale. I don't know. This game is just such a meh. I played through it. I'm done. I'm not going to go back to it. It didn't capture me in a way that was exceptional. But what do you think? Is this really the greatest and I totally missed the point, the shy? I hope you see this video so that you can tell me in the comments why I'm such an idiot. Somebody else leave a comment. What game do you want me to play next? It turns out that I'm willing to do that for you people. So leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit us with a like, and I'll see you guys with the next video.